Welcome to the first episode of PML Around the Horn, where we debate and we hear what everyone has to say about all the hot topics going around, especially today as we are in the middle of week 6 of the first season of this cycle. Joining us today for the debates, we got Z, Mally, Fallen, Q, and Drama. Z, would you like to introduce yourself at all?
Appreciate you having me, man. This is an exciting format, and I'm definitely interested to see how this goes. Looking forward to contributing however I can.
Thank you. Mally?
Yeah, what's up, PML? It's your boy Mally. No longer in Cali, but I'll be out here in Tennessee, you know. Excited for this as well. It's gonna be a fun format. I look forward to chatting it up with y'all.
Hey, Matley, you the only 10 I see.
Hell yeah.
Our first of the two commissioners joining us, we got Fallen.
Hey, what's up, guys? I think this is my first actual voice um recording kind of thing of the cycle, so I'm excited. I did some with A-Rod last year, so decided to do something different. So thank you for the invite.
Of course. We got the other commissioner, Q.
What to do, PML? It's your boy Q. Here to, talk about some hot topics in PML and give my perspective.
And the man who needs no introduction, Drama.
Oompa loompa doopity doo.
All right, so we are gonna start once I say the first topic, and this is not like the prediction show. Try not to interrupt each other, but I'm not calling on people. You just say what you want to say. First topic is the roughing the kicker from the end of week 5 that cost Neff the game. How do you feel about it? How do you feel about his reaction?
Got to take control of the player in that situation. If you don't want your guys running into the kicker, take control of that guy on the outside. Make sure he doesn't dive in. Leave it up to the computer. You deserve what you get.
If it was me, I would have accepted that penalty in a fast, quick, and a hurry. You just gonna have to deal with that shit. Matter fucks everybody at some point in time, and you just got to battle through adversity.
I think he has nobody to blame but himself. There's no way that you decide to step away from the game and put yourself in a position for the AI to make a play, even if it's a bad one, which it was. And I mean, I don't see anybody not accepting that penalty. So if you got to step away on field goal, do field goal safe. Don't even do that to yourself.
Yeah, I don't feel sorry for Neff at all, considering he blocked 2 of my kicks in our game. So he gets what he deserves.
Yeah, I think Neff is all cap when he says that he wouldn't have accepted the penalty. I think he would have, and I would have as well, because nobody in PML is going to do you any favors like that. So you just got to take what you get.
All right, next topic. Moving quickly, we'll go to the Eagles as a commissioner playing a game with 10 superstars, supposedly forgetting to edit one of his players.
I think it was in his hands. He could have changed it. I don't know if there's any basis for like any suspension or anything like that, because we have in the past, there has been delays in taking care of those kind of things. So, but since he was the one in control of that and he could have done it, I don't think he forgot. I think it's convenient that he forgot. So
There's no way he didn't know. I mean, he even said he waited 2 hours for a commissioner to change it, another commissioner to change it before playing the game, rather than just streaming him changing it himself and letting somebody know. So no one to blame but himself.
Honestly, this is just coming from a commissioner's perspective because I know about it a little bit more in depth. We've never given anybody a penalty for having 10 or 11 people on that team. Even JC, you went a couple of weeks last cycle with more X factors on your team that you shouldn't have. And we had some teams in the playoffs in PML last cycle that had more X factors or superstars on their team than they were supposed to, and nobody said anything about it, and nothing was done, nothing bad happened. So I mean, it's up to the commissioner team to take care of that. It's not HD's job because it is him. It's actually somebody else's job on the commissioner's team to go in and see it and change it. Now, I mean, outside of that, that is what it is. I think it was more so like A-Rod or people like had hating HD and was like, we want something bad to happen to him because he's making the fucking announcements. But in reality, we've never, ever, and in no point in PML have given someone a fine for having more superstars or whatever on their team.
If you ain't
Yeah,
cheating, you ain't trying. Shout out to HD. You know what I'm saying? He got the dub in a close game, and I'm sure that superstar has something to do with it. But if there ain't no precedence, you know what I'm saying, then uh, ain't nothing they can do about it. So salute to him.
just hopping on Q's point of view, and we know a little bit more about it, but um, if there was a problem with it, the game could have been paused, and they could have quit the game, made the adjustment. If you notice it, while you're in the game, so there's always that. But you know,
All right. Moving on to the next topic is the Cardinals are the only defeated team left in PML. What's going on with them? Can they turn it around? Do they even want to turn it around?
Tank, 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 tank. Caleb Williams is on the way to Arizona.
Tank City, bitch. Tank City, bitch.
Hey, 10, 20, 150 color cities, bitch. Nah, we actually we're trying to win some games, man. You know, they got that new rule. You know, if you tank, something's gonna happen to you. So we don't even want to be looked at as tanking. We want to win some games so we can compete next season. At this point, I mean, there's no point in tanking at this point because you tank and then you go into season 2 and you can't even go to the playoffs. So that actually promotes you tanking again if you were tanking. Because it's like, shit, I can't go to the playoffs. I kill my own team. So there's no real point in tanking. I don't think nobody who's played me personally will say I tanked because I didn't, what's the word I want to use? I didn't ever try not to win any games. I was always in games. I was always putting my best foot forward. And it just was bad luck, honestly, with what I was dealt. A bunch of close games just can't get over the hump.
Yeah, in
yeah,
all
and
seriousness, I was kind of playing around a little bit, but I do think Q is trying to win games. I don't think he's actively trying to lose. He might be trying to figure some things out with what he's got, but I don't think he's actively actually trying to tank.
you got to give Q
Yeah,
credit.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
He should have won that game against the Giants. I don't know. I know disconnections are always annoying to kind of play against, but he should have beat Burn in that game. I didn't watch what happened when they replayed it, but he should have at least one win, and I think he'll get some more with Kyler Murray back. So, but shout out to him because he has the. And I was just looking it up. His defense is playing pretty well against the pass, the rush, and just total yards. So shout out to you, Q.
Yeah, and to just kind of round it off, I don't think he's tanking. I think he's trying to win games. The Cardinals team is just pretty bad, and I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if he's able to steal some games from people, unsuspecting people later down the year. So yeah.
Okay, moving on to the next topic on the other side of things. The last two undefeated teams left in PML are both from LA with the Rams and the Chargers. Are they the front runners for the conferences? Is that going to be the Super Bowl matchup?
They are who we thought they were. We had them right where we wanted them, and we let them off the hook. Chargers are a formidable foe. I don't think they've had any real tests this cycle. First test was against the Cowboys, and he eked out a last second win with a field goal. I think as the other teams in the division kind of balance themselves out with some of the trades and the moves they're looking to make, We're going to see the Charger team come back down to earth, but he's been on the run, on the tear so far. Same thing with the Rams. Don't think they've had any real tests. He did have one game close against a division opponent in the Seahawks, but I think as the season progresses, we're going to see both those teams come back down to earth and find themselves in the mix of the fold. I don't see either of those teams in the Super Bowl year one.
I
Damn,
think
either one
that
is crazy. That's a crazy take.
yeah, I think we all expected Coach to do well with the Chargers. I mean, they're an 86 overall team, so he's doing what he should be doing. I'm more impressed by Cookie and the Rams. That's a 79 overall team, and to go 6-0. I mean, his division's pretty good. You got Z and CEO with 4 wins apiece, and he's beat them both. So um, I think, but I think just based on team wise, I think the Chargers have a better shot at getting to the Super Bowl than the Rams do. I think playoff time is different in PML. And with Justin Herbert, I think Codes has a cheat code in him.
We'll find out everything we need to know about the Chargers next week. They play the Chiefs, so that'll be one to look forward to. But as far as the Rams, if you haven't played against Aaron Donald and Cooper Kupp, they make up for everything that 79 says. And Stafford makes throws like he's an 85 too. So shout out to Cook for starting off strong. And I mean, it just comes down to how the rest of the division unfolds. Because it's not necessarily like our matchups get crazy hard. But we play each other, and there are some good teams left on each person's schedule. So if I had to pick right now, I would say Codes. But I mean, he's got some tests with the Chiefs. Plays the Bills too, I think. So we'll see.
No, I honestly think both of those teams get beat at some point in time, just the way the league is. And it's any given Sunday in PML. So they'll take a loss. And like Z said, Cook is a testament of Aaron Donald and Cooper Kupp on that team for sure. It definitely boosts them a lot. So I could see Colts going longer without losing than I could see Cook, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't really see anybody at this point as a lock for a Super Bowl yet. Both of these guys are capable of it, I think, but I think Cookie, I think it'll come later rather than sooner with that team. He's got some pieces, like they said, with Aaron Donald and Cooper Kupp, but I think in the playoffs he might have some trouble when you're playing against the top guys week to week, and you got to deal with that team. And but I mean, you got to give him his flowers for. I mean, he's got guys like Puka Nakua doing crazy stuff on Madden, which he's a surprise in the NFL in real life. But let's be real, in Madden, he's not your typical Madden standout guy. So he's slow and everything. So he's making it happen with those guys. Codes is doing what he's supposed to do with the Chargers. But he's got some tough games coming up. So I don't think anybody's a lock for anything yet. So.
Okay, moving on now to, I think, the first of the last 3 topics and the ones that are really interesting. First, we got the Buccaneers cap situation and how they're getting fined every single week because they can't fix their roster problems because of the real life team. Is it on him to have made trades by now? Or is it, now that he's getting screwed, that's on him?
Is Cammy out here?
No, he is not.
No.
I had the luxury of investigating this, so I'll break it down to you. Cammy could have fixed his issues a long time ago. He didn't have to sign anybody. He could have just changed the positions, but he just decided to sign OJ. He moved his right end to defensive tackle, and so he had 4 defensive tackles and 1 right end. So you literally moved the guy where you had 2 places, put him where you already had 4 pieces, and then didn't put nothing back. And then you had moves for weeks and weeks to come, and you didn't change, and you didn't do anything with it. So he had time to fix it early, without the cap. He actually changed players' positions that put him in the position that he's in. But we still love you, Cammy.
Well, mine and Cammy's trade, that can fix his cap situation. I mean, we've been going on and on in the chat all day about it, about the trade. So just for anybody who doesn't know, it's a 25-year-old defensive end, Julian Akwara. and then we've gone through different pick situations. So I don't have a fourth. So he originally just wanted a fifth, but then I also added a future third, this most recent trade. So you got some idiot that keeps putting the same thing about positions when I'm getting right outside linebacker. So to Q's point, Cammy could have made some position changes and just adding on from the beginning of the season to help his cap situation out. But this one trade can effectively put him plus 12 million in cap if they'll put it through. So we haven't submitted it again because it just got denied again. I think that's like the fourth time today, and between yesterday and today. I've seen some of the same answers over and over again, but we may try to do one last try. But if he's able to trade Shaq Barrett, really just to anybody, that's going to put him in the positive. So ultimately, it is on him, his cap situation, but just trading that one player will make those fines go away.
Ain't no love in the heart of the city. Ain't no love in the heart of the town. If you put yourself in a position for PML to drag their nuts on you, that's exactly what they're going to do. Cammy should have figured this out a long time ago. He shouldn't have put himself at the mercy of the league to continuously get fined or to be in a position where he has to depend on the trade committee to, help him out. You know what I'm saying? It's not ideal. This is not America. This is not a utopian society. This is PML, where if you put yourself in a position, they're gonna fuck you every time. So Cammy should have known better. Cammy's got to do better. It's nobody's responsibility to bail him out but himself.
Yeah, in this league, it's kind of like if you drown, you drown. I have a similar situation with my resigns for this upcoming year, and I had to get into franchise mode and try to figure out how to make it work. We do have the feature where you're able to restructure your contracts. So if that's a route he has to take and it messes up like resigns to help get him out of the hole, it is what it is, man. You just got to do something to where you can field a playable roster because if I saw JT alluded to, if they're finding you content points and you're in a negative, they can replace you. So you just got to handle business.
Yeah, I got the game up right now and I'm looking at the positions where Cammy's lacking, and it looks like he could have, when we had that week where we were able to do position changes, like Q said, if he would have been more strategic with that, it looks like he could have filled out what he needs. I mean, he's short a left tackle, but he's got an extra left guard. He could have changed that guy to left tackle. He's got needs a right end, but he's got a defensive tackle that he could have left at right end. He needs a safety. He could have looked and seen if one of his extra cornerbacks, because he's got plenty of those, could have been changed to a safety when we had those position changes. So all that could have been remedied during that time period if he had paid enough attention to it.
Okay, then moving on past the Bucks, staying with the idea of team building and trades. The Cowboys recently bought off Tyron Smith off the NTL for 100 points because it's 100 now. And many are theorizing that his trade value is a second rounder at best. Was it worth it? What's the thought there?
It ain't tricking if you got it. That's why I'm here, so I don't get fined. We're trying to run up these content points. You know what I'm saying? The boy got to move. I can't have him on my roster. I'm not going to be able to re-sign him, so I got to get what I can get. And if it's going to cost me 100, then it's going to cost me 100. You know what I'm saying? But you know what I'm saying? I'll pay for it if I want it. So it is what
Yeah,
it is.
I think if you drama at this point, it was a kind of ballsy move. The 100 points are just losing him and just drafting somebody else. That can be looked at two ways because that's 100 points you could have put into somebody you drafted or somebody you got new instead of trading him for picks or somebody else. But I think you got to take the first deal that you can get. That's good because once it gets closer to crunch time, people gonna start trying to hold you because they know you want to get rid of them without just losing them to free agency. So I think it'll be interesting, but you just gotta be super quick and strategic with it.
I think.
Sorry, go ahead.
Okay. Well, just based off of myself paying 100 points to Neff I think it was last cycle, or the cycle before that, just to get it was a little different situation, but just to replay the game. Granted, we replayed the game and I won it. I think if him spending that 100 points, he's able to trade Tyron Smith, get something in return, and he continues to win. I think then that 100 points spent is well done for him. But if it backfires and he starts to lose after he's traded him, I don't think it was 100 points well spent.
I was just gonna add that I mean, with that, you're taking a calculated risk that one, you're gonna get the offer that you're searching for, and that two, the trade committee is gonna approve the trade. I mean, we've seen a couple trades today. There's been some topics, some talk about it. People just not getting stuff approved for a variety of reasons. So, I mean, you're taking a 100 point risk, and I mean, you can't win without taking risks. So, I mean, if Drama thinks he can get what he wants for it, go for it. But that 100 points is gonna loom large. So, yeah.
Yeah, kind of to Z's point. It's a huge risk because I mean, already paying the points. If there's a deal in place, like why isn't it submitted already? Hope you're at the will of the trade committee now if they accept it or not. If it doesn't, everybody's just got you by the balls now. They know you need to trade them because you paid 100 points or you're out 100 points. So it's just like you gave a lot of power in that regard and lost out on a lot of points that could have been used for development and things like that. But I get it. I mean, especially when you're in a cap situation, because I'm in one myself. You have to look at some moves that you don't really want to make, but you just have to anyway. So, um, I mean, if he finds a way to work it out, it'll pay off. But it's gonna hurt if it doesn't.
And just something I just quick thought of. I think Drama keeps playing well, but he's been playing good. This is probably one of your best seasons starting off. Well, I would have kept him honestly and just tried to go as far as I could this season one since I'm already playing good. I got the O line now, and I would try to go get it now. Honestly, that's how I would have been looking at it. Why not? The game is fresh. You got the team you like. They're good. They're ready. You can play with them now and compete with the best. I would try to go get a chip now instead of moving him because I don't know how it'll affect you at all. But if it does, it kind of puts you back in the same place. I feel like if you don't, just keep being successful like everybody was saying. But you already spent the points now. You can't do shit.
Moving on to putting picks in incorrectly based on projections or whatever, not Madden shows, being inaccurate for whatever reason, like we saw in the Marshawn Lattimore trade. I am here as a moderator, not the Saints user, not the guy who did it. You want to say that it was a bitch move? You want to say it was scummy? This is your floor to do so.
I think it was all the above. It was a bitch move. It was funny. I think you pretty much covered all of them. I don't
Goddamn.
projecting. I don't think projecting a pick has ever been anything anybody's done. And then for a pick not to be, it was just too much going on with it. It was way off. It just didn't seem very ethical. But I don't think that's going to become a thing or anything like that. I think you tried it. You tried it. That's what I say. You tried it. It didn't work. And God bless you.
I think the question comes down to like who do we even blame? Is it the trade committee's fault for not even for approving that?
Yeah,
Or
I think it's way more their fault than it's way more their fault than JC fault. But that doesn't excuse JC for trying it. But it's way more the trade committee's fault.
right. And yeah, it's like D Lloyd said, like you could if someone put in it the number wrong and it's a little bit off, it's not a big deal. But when like every one of them is wrong and then one of them doesn't even he doesn't even have that pick at all, it's like, come on.
Yeah, I think that's what was worse. Like the first, okay. I mean, because you could look at the first, and I don't think anybody thinks DK is going to be a top 5 pick, even with the record he's at right now. But adding a pick that he doesn't even have, to me, that's what is worse. So I don't know if JC didn't look or if he just assumed or what happened, but then for the trade committee to approve it, it's like, are any of them even looking at what people are having, or they're just saying, oh, that looks good. So I think each individual is to blame, but I think it's more on the committee than JC.
And honestly, I think that's something that the committee should be able to consider. They should be able to look at it and say, hey, look, this is DK. I don't think DK is going to be a top 5 pick. And they can consider that, but I think it should be submitted as it is in game.
If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. Salute to DK. Salute to JC. Everybody just trying to find their way. Everybody just a squirrel trying to get their nut. You know what I'm saying? The trade, the draft picks should not be evaluated based on standing, based on where you projected to be in the future or where it's projected to be now. First round should be considered a first rounder. We saw in the past, Ionitis got traded for a first round pick. Made sense at the time. Ionitis was a stud, good guy to block up the middle. That first round pick ended up being a number 1 overall pick. Um, the trade committee really needs to learn how to be unbiased in their opinions and needs to understand that your responsibility is not to judge the guys who are making the trades or judge the value that you feel is going to add or take away from their team. Instead, you should be, objective and evaluating, the pieces and the parts that are being exchanged and the reasoning that the users give you when they submit, that little comment section that's in the trade proposal. So, salute to DK, salute to JC. They tried it. You know what I'm saying? They got caught, they got exposed. Salute to the PML police. But if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying, man. That's just the nature of the game.
Just to be clear, I don't think that Ionitis trade was ever made sense.
He
Z,
was 20. He was 28.
Z,
Sorry.
did you want
I
to?
mean, I
Yeah.
just, I just, you gotta do what you gotta do, man. He's not in my conference anymore. I don't care. But yeah, I mean, on the trade committee, that I feel like you have to kind of be able to check that stuff. Um, it's if they're denying as many trades as they're denying, and there's no real reasoning for it that people can get with, then you should be using that time to make sure that the stuff people are submitting is accurate before you approve it, because you're changing um, people's seasons. We only play 5 seasons, and you definitely cannot afford to impact somebody's season by just not doing your own research. So yeah, I definitely think they need to take more responsibility in that regard, just as they take responsibility in writing these smart ass responses.
Okay, moving on to the final round, which will be worth double points, both positive and negative. The trade committee as a whole being inconsistent with these player for player, player for pick, pick for whatever trades, just not matching up with other ones they've accepted, other ones they've denied, and how that looks moving forward as this is only season 1.
Since I was just talking about it, I'll just start us off. I mean, I just think that consistency is necessary in everything. But not just with trades, with punishments and all that stuff. And if if the reshuffle, I don't know who's on it now, but if they're gonna continue to not be consistent, then JT should replace them and just make sure that they have consistency all around. Because this league, people put too much time, too much effort into trying to shape their teams into their identity to not have consistency all across the board.
Yeah, I'm with Z on that one. It's everybody's always going to have something to say because no one's going to agree, especially when they're involved in some of the trades and stuff. You're not going to be able to make everybody happy, but some form of consistency at least, gets you close. You're never going to make everybody happy, but if you can at least be consistent, that's something. And I don't know, I just feel like consistency is something we need to really push forward, because if you hear some of the talk around PML and the after chats and stuff like right now, I think that mentality of if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying is starting to get to some people. They're seeing that there is a lot of people out there that will do little shady things for just little tiny edges. And there's a lot of people that in PML that are sick of that kind of stuff, and they're sick of inconsistencies with punishments and things like that. So I think we're getting to a point where we need to deeply assess those things.
Yeah, just speaking on the trade committee and consistency, I definitely don't agree with a lot of the trades that get approved. And I've never had a problem with mine getting approved, but some of them that get approved are terrible. And I don't understand why they go through. I don't understand when trades get denied and people come in the chat and complain about it. And then they go through and then they still complain about it. Then they don't go like, bro, it's a trade committee. It's a committee of people, multiple people. And so when trades get approved, you don't necessarily see anything or any feedback on what happened when it was approved. You just know it was approved, and it's just like this group thing. And I think maybe if we had a better understanding of how it worked, we can kind of see through it. But I understand both sides. I just don't think it's a lot of gray area in it. It's not as black and white as we try to make it. And I think it'll be interesting to see how JT kind of attacks what he said, everything moving forward as far as consistency and punishment, consistency and the trade committee. But I think JT is just like an evil mind. He just likes to sit back, let everybody talk about it, get all hyped and riled up, and then he'll come out with something or say something, and that's just be what it be. So we've been changing and evolving as the league thus far. So I think it'll just keep happening, but. I think the way we're choosing to deal with everything now and everything being in chat and everybody hopping on this side or hopping on that side and putting their opinions in it's making me not even want to be in the chat. Like, God, can we talk about something else, bro? God damn.
Yeah, so I'll piggyback on some of that. I was actually just looking at it. So there's just really not a lot of consistency, and I don't know too much about the trade committee or how many people is in it, but just my trade was denied 5 times. And it looks like there's only 3 comments on every single one. So whether there's 5 people, 7 people, I don't know. It looks like if 3 people don't like the trade, it automatically gets rejected. I don't know how approvals are, or if that's something similar, but all of these rejections. The biggest thing is, and I don't know about anybody else's trade that doesn't get rejected, there's really no positive comments about it. And I mean, it's a rejection, so it's not gonna be positive, but like, hey, do this and I'll approve it. Or like, I got a couple of those comments saying, do this. One of them was add a 4th, but I don't even have a 4th. So it's like, why are you suggesting that? You're not even looking at the picks that I have in order to help. So I would like to see a little more consistency. I know it was talked to death. Mainly Q was talking about it prior to this. But if someone is going to say that they don't like position for position, but then, 10 days ago, the same committee, I would assume, I don't think it's a different committee, approved a safety for a safety, or even my first trade was a defensive tackle for a right end. I know they're 2 different positions, but they're both on a defensive line. So it would just be nice to see some consistency across the board, or just better explanations. Another explanation I got was current pick. That was literally the only thing the rejection said, and I was already offering a current pick. So
we are gonna have to move on to drama here so we can fit this all in. Drama, you got anything to say? Okay.
I'd put money he fell asleep.
All right. Looks like drama is missing this last round. But anyway, this was a very good first edition of Round the Horn, in my opinion. The point totals will be released in the final thing because I am running out of time to add this all up. But I think everyone made very good points and made this a success. And this is JC now after the fact editing. I wasn't able to add the graphics because the software I'm using just would not let me save it and copy it. It made me re-edit it from the beginning all over. But either way, I think this turned out really well. Just without the visuals I wanted, but without further ado, the point totals for who won the first episode of Round the Horn. In last place, we got a tie between Drama and Fallen at 14 points. I thought Fallen and Drama both made really good points. Drama missed the last round, just, did not go their way. I was taking points live while this was going, and I'm not perfect. This is my first time doing it, so the points were based on if they made good arguments, and obviously I'm deciding that in the moment, so it's an opinion. Then in third, we got Q with 17 points. And then first and second were Mally and Z, decided by 1 point. The winner was Z with 22 points, and Mally came in with 21. It was a great episode, great week to start this with all the topics going around. Looking forward to continuing it down the line, and I'll show the graphics here in a second, just so you can see the vision for hopefully how this will look in the future with +1 and -1 for most of the rounds, and then the last round being double points based on your arguments and to close it out. So, great first episode. Can't wait to make this a regular series.